Greetings and welcome to our final fireside
Ooh, I'm
discussion of
hearing
the
you.
whole entire session. Dr. Rise, we're happy to have you here. And thank you to the very inspirational roundtable discussion that we just had. And Dr. Rise, can you hear us? It tells me you can. All right, let's see if we can troubleshoot that down below, Russell, and communicate with Dr. Rise. And while that's happening, we'll just say that the previous roundtable discussion, amongst the other roundtable discussions that we just had, were just incredible. There was a lot that was expressed. I know I'm personally taking notes, and audience, all of you that are still with us at GatherVerse.live and various other social streams in which we cannot tell how many of you exactly are out there, but we do know there are many of you that are joining us, and strangers, and some for the very first time. There was a lot that was expressed in a roundtable that was led by Salvation Shigoroka, and we certainly do appreciate all the different remarks of the various speakers that have come to join us today on this day one of Women's Health Summit GatherVerse 2026. When we think about the enormity of that which was expressed, by far and large, this is certainly our most intimate summit that we carry in the year. This is our second annual, and we do have our men's summit, which has almost as equal depth. But I can certainly say, as a man, that I am taking notes, and there's just things that I come to appreciate about the different perspectives of how women are seeing women's health when it comes to 2026, and primarily at the intersection of emerging technologies in humanity. And to join me on stage for this fireside discussion, we have Dr. Robin Rise, who we're certainly happy to have return with us to be able to share and impart from her lens perspective on this subject titled Her Health. And Dr. Rise, we're happy to have you. How are you today?
I'm well and I'm inspired and just absolutely blown away by the possibilities and the inspirational perspectives of all of these different women in a time where we're hearing so much that seems scary and overwhelming and outside of our purview of power. To have this opportunity and to have men and organizations like GatherVerse uh, is essential. It's essential, and together we can make this the world that we want for women, for everybody.
Well met and well expressed, and thank you so much, Dr. Rise. Help me to make sense of what's just been said today. There's been so much that's been unpacked, Dr. Rise. Uh, we've talked about women's internal health. We've talked about identifying and understanding our bodies as much as we can, even beyond what a practitioner can. We've talked about decency and the various medical verticals in the world. We've had folks certainly express this intersection of women's health in particular and artificial intelligence and the acceleration of technology. And I would ask that you put a bit of a perspective of what does this mean, the psychology of the matter of things. There's a lot, and our arms can only carry so much. How do we take all this in? Because we know innovation slows down for none of us. It seems aligned with time, doesn't it? Can you
It,
give us your perspective on how do we approach this time?
well, I think we're at a time now where we're seeing that it is going to take all of us working on our piece of holding up the sky together. We can't do it alone. We need each other. We need each other's expertise, and we need to build within a system that feels safe and supportive, which then leads to a sense of belonging, which leads to a sense of purpose, which leads to wanting to express yourself in the way that you were brought here to this planet to do. So I think we're in a time of feeling like it's a solitary mission. We have to do it ourselves. Everything's on us. And in a time when trust and exploitation and all of these things are happening, where we feel like we have to protect ourselves, creating a place like GatherVerse where it is safe to be and express who you are, and trust that there's not a sense of being, I guess I'll just threatened, right? So from a neuroscience perspective, we're talking about getting people into the thinking part of their brain, the true creative, miraculous part of our brain versus the survival parts of our brain, which make us feel shut down and small and scared and just trying to make it through a day. So optimizing for the holistic health, the whole of what impacts us on a day-to-day basis is missing, and missing because in our world we are optimizing for winning and dominance and money and power instead of the collective flourishing and building a village where everybody contributes.
Indeed. Thank you, Dr. Rice. I'm thinking as you were expressing, and it's just this architectural development that's happening in my mind as you speak. And it's making me think about taking everything that you said and then with sudden mobility, adding in the relationship of a machine
Mhm.
in this equivalent. It seems to come from nowhere. It seems to be almost everywhere. It's very persistent and invasive in life, and it's transcending traditional digital borders that we've have or perhaps enjoyed for decades. We had someone say today, Dr. Rise, that Gen Z is having more communication with these machines and relationships, if you will, and not necessarily completely of the romantic variety, but relationships, no doubt, where there's friendship that is brewing between both human heart and machine. In your professional view, how do you look at this? And should this be a bigger sounding stage than what it enjoys presently today in March 2026?
So a bigger sounding stage, meaning we should amplify that or we should understand that?
Both. So awareness, and great question. Awareness, um, how alarming this is that these innovations that are made predominantly by men are now the new next best friend
Yes.
of our children, of our youth, in particular, thematically to this summit, of women, young
Yeah,
women, and
absolutely.
these are really backed and raised by men.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is a time where the technology has made things so easy and so comfortable, and little education or understanding of how these models actually work. I know people of all ages who don't even have a concept of what is happening with AI, and I know that the people who are creating these platforms don't know what's really happening inside the black box either. But the data that's being used is creating these echo chambers and helping people to feel good or seen or heard in a way that they need it, which then eliminates is not the right word, minimizes the desire to find human connection. And while AI I think is a miraculous technology.
Sure.
And I'm always been that future forward person, that Star Trek person who wants to be um, able to have things at my fingertips, at my whim, at my creation. I'm also aware that the way it works is it's taking me and mirroring back to me. And in the human brain, the things that happen within our brain are so much more unknown and complicated, complex, maybe. It's a system that interacts with every other thing. It's not happening within a contained system. So when kids don't know that understanding and mirroring with another person creates changes in their brain in what are called mirror neurons, which means that lasting change happens in real human connection. That doesn't happen with AI. And right, wasn't the word of the year last year brain rot? Right. So when there's a lack of new growth, uh, and a lack of incentive and a lack of understanding of how our human brain works, how our genome works, how our epigenome works, how all of the systems together impinge on who we are and make us who we are. It is not an amalgamation of data. It is sensory, internal, external. It is our upbringing. It is our life experiences, and they don't have that experience. Those of us with a little bit of wisdom under our belts, we know, or I know you're just a baby, Christopher, but I know and remember the analog days, and I remember the playing with friends and in the street till the street lights came on, and how you had to learn how to interact and be, and the strengths that people brought, and the places where you had to learn how to be in a functioning society, in a functioning village. And they really see this isolation as, of the past few years in particular, as amplifying the fear, the distrust of humans and connection. And AI is a very intoxicating, seductive companion.
Does technical isolation, with consideration that it's happening before this level of language models has shown up, it's certainly amplified more. It almost begs the question, Dr. Rice, does this lead to more trust in machines than humans have for one another?
Oh, I think there's evidence already, right, and statistics that say that people feel like it's just easier and more fulfilling to connect with a machine than it is to connect with a human. Uh, in therapy, right? My background is as a clinical psychologist, with a little bit of a rogue streak that that wanted to help people to test themselves into who they really were, right? What's going on underneath the surface? What makes you tick? What are your blind spots? What don't you know you don't know? And some of those sessions are challenging and difficult, and not much pushback comes from an LLM that's trained to be sycophantic and tell you how wise, smart you are. And I understand there's settings and algorithms that can be changed for that, but why test yourself if you don't have to, right? Why push yourself when you don't have to, and you can create your perfect AI girlfriend, boyfriend, and she does exactly as you would wish, and no attachment, attunement, connection, impinges on our brain at all, which means that none of our system upgrades. And I think we're in a constant battle now to understand why challenge, difficulty, struggle is essential to solving the problems of the global community, maybe the galactic community. But we have to understand how to do hard things, feel hard things, and transcend.
And what can you envision for the near future progress of women's health with these extraordinarily powerful tools? We know that there certainly is I would say, a degenerative side to AI and a harmful side to AI. But at the same time, which is just so different with this particular applied science, there's tremendous upside. Can we kind of venture to explore what are some of the upsides that you see, Dr. Risen, that you would like to see and that you think is realistic to see near setting?
Absolutely. Again, some of the things I heard this morning were so inspiring because we, as a collective, understand so many different facets of a very complicated problem, and AI can help us aggregate, amalgamate, catalyze, network, answer. It can be a tool of magnificent reduction of cognitive load, of finding patterns, of connecting us in ways that we couldn't do otherwise. And shoot, I just made a movie for my friend, a happy birthday movie, right? Which was so much better than a text. And I was like, man, it's so nice to have there be this facility at my fingertips. I can create things I never could have imagined. Never could have imagined. But as was also mentioned earlier, it's women need to own their data. Women need to own, right, the systems that we're building. Those need to be valued. So within a safe space, we could move mountains and change the world with
What
technology.
happens? Well, what happens? What happens when we reduce this cognitive load? Uh, what are the actual benefits? And what happens when those that have been under this load for, I can imagine, a tremendous amount of time, when this is reduced, what might that propel?
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? What might that propel? Are you kidding? It's it unleashes a sense of freedom and possibility and power that I can spend nourishing myself, my gifts. And right, there's a saying that women are only as happy as their least happy child or their least happy area, right? Which again, we're wired so different than men. So if women are only as happy as their least happy aspect in the environment, when you are able to take care of those things, right? Happy women make happy kids, make happy husbands, make happy families. All of us should be living from this place of when I'm in the back to the creative thinking part of your brain, which we're meant to be using. That's where we can reach the cosmos. It's just crazy being freed up from that load is liberating.
Dr. Rice, we'll switch a bit of subject here and then we'll conclude at some point here. But I'd be remiss in not at least bringing up the subject that I know of many subjects that is so fond to you, which is community. Community alignment, global alignment, in particular with women and women leaders. This was raised this morning in our first roundtable discussion and I believe it was raised by Dr. Garcia, which I thought was just spot on. What is the value and why is it so necessary now for global community, in particular of women, in this time of accelerated hyperscale of technology?
Again, back to everybody only has to hold up their small piece of the sky in that kind of a scenario. When we're in a community together, you don't have to do everything. And right, it highlights the difference between a society built for uh, left brain thinking, we'll call it left brain thinking, where it's right, win, reach a goal. It's exactly what testosterone and male hormones are for, right? Achieve a goal, and no other thing is more important. It's singular focus, is what they call it. So think laser beam. And women have everything but that. Sorry, women. But we have what's called diffuse awareness. So all of the things going on, our attention, our brain works to be aware of all the pieces that are going on around us, all the stimuli going on around us. So the more of that we know we're in a safe place, things are taken care of, the kids are okay, grandma's okay, I have food on the table, then everybody together can build what needs to be built for the community table, for the whole community to be fed, and how to take care of those who are pregnant, right? We heard about maternity leave and menopause and all of these features that the finite world, the masculine world, uh, doesn't understand. They don't experience it, and it is a collaboration between the men and the women together that makes such a miraculous world. We need both, and having those in balance is essential. So women together move mountains, right? And men prefer and are better at single focus, being the leader, makes a perfect system. But together, we have so much relief.
We talk about women. Many of us were raised by women. I know that I was raised by strong women in the communities I grew up in. Very strong women and men, but very strong women. I think about the role that's often, and I know in communities where I come from, women are very uh, looked at as protectors, uh, leaders, guides. I think about this.
Mhm.
Uh, we see this manifested in the animal kingdoms of the world and the
Mhm.
way that the woman plays the role of what she plays. There's a disbalance in medical technology and
Yes.
health. There's a severe disbalance. I think Dr. Zakaria talked about the lack of funding in the previous roundtable discussion we just had. There's a great disbalance, and it seems to me, Dr. Risen, I'd like for you to chime in on this briefly, if you will, that if we do not start to, if you will, pony up now to start funding more women-led platforms, women-led entrepreneurs, especially that are building in the medical theater, I have a fear that we may not be afforded this opportunity again. And to know that we're heading into a theater where it's persistently developed and engineered by men, it just seems inherently wrong and it seems inherently false. And it doesn't seem like the greatest foundation in which to build upon.
No, it's in my opinion, it's a dangerous place to build on, because nowhere in nature are things as out of balance as they are in the world currently between authority and patriarchal values.
Mm.
Uh, so women together uh, have, it's a mission. For me, it's a mission, it's a movement, it is a calling that when we can trust each other and build together and create a larger voice, a larger movement, we'll start getting attention. but it's been decades, well, maybe even centuries, of being undervalued, underseen, underrepresented, underchosen. Our voices have been very silenced, and this is our time, ladies. It is just time for us to lock arms and really build something that supports the growth of a society and civilization and protect our kids and 7 generations hence. Uh, yeah, it's just a time of building that place, all of those things that the women talked about this morning and on the She Summit, right? All of these women, all of these humans are miraculous pieces of this big puzzle, and bringing that together, we have so much more power than we know by doing that, and amplified by this technology rather than captured by it. Now is the time.
Wow, amplified rather than captured by it. And shout out to the superhero engine, She Summit.
Oh, yeah, amazing.
In closing, Dr. Risen, thank you so much for imparting so much onto us. You talk about development and building. There are many things you've seen in your tenure thus far in life. I suspect much more to come, both professionally and personally. To the women innovators, the leaders that are listening to us now, we're dialed in many different social streams right now. Many people are GatherVerse.live. To what extent, we do not know. To the many people that are with us right now, that are listening, that are gathering in, asking themselves, there are many things I could build, but what are some more of the important places in which I should build? What would you suggest to them, Dr. Rise, if they said, Dr. Rise, I want to build, what should I build? Where should I build?
Mm. So I am forgetting her name, but the woman who talked about the toothbrush test, right? Uh, Women are really good at using the things that work for them, and when we start building systems that support women and founders, leaders, builders, creators, architects, building things, women know what works for us. We use it. We will support it. And there's so many things that have been created and underfunded, put not paid any attention to, that if all of those things were resurrected, all of the wisdom of women, of things that could potentially be useful, the market will decide, women will decide, I'll use this, I won't use this. Creating the safe container is the essential piece. If you're afraid you're going to be threatened, taken advantage of, or suppressed, we don't. So having that safe community collaboration, your IP is your IP, your data is your data. Bring your stuff, we'll test it out. We have the place, we have the community, and we know what we need.
We know what we need. Um, it's because of people such as yourself and the GatherVerse community that has arrived today, which makes me so thankful to have the opportunity to help support, to become a student for a day and more, and to align an allyship. And thankful for leaders such as yourself, Dr. Rise, the GatherVerse community is, for not only saying these things, but living them. And we do look forward to having you back again with us. And we look forward to seeing what Dr. Rise is going to be building and sharing with us in the future. Uh, I'm not a bird on the limb peeking through the window, but I'm told it's extraordinary some of the things that you're set to launch soon, and we look forward to seeing that.
Ooh, what a great little teaser. But yes, yeah. So I would love to connect with any women, founders, tech people, people who have, women who have something to say that they feel like needs to be seen. Let's start building, girls.
And you heard it right here, live on this Fireside Chat. At the conclusion of our GatherVerse Women's Health Summit 2026 audience, do take time to not only follow Dr. Rise, but to partner, connect, dialogue, and build with her as well. She's opened the door. I certainly hope that each of you, women and men that are here, will walk through. Dr. Rise, thank you for your time. Our gather was well.
Honored.
And with that said, this brings us to the conclusion of GatherVerse Women's Health Summit, Day 1, 2026. We'd like to thank each of you that have arrived and enjoyed us today at GatherVerse.live and the various social streams that we have. We know that many of you are watching from around the world, transmetropolitan, transcontinental. We're very happy to have each of you to come and join us, in particular for this 41st Global GatherVerse event. There are so many things and so many ways to express how we feel about a number of given things, and we're so appreciative that you feel that you can come here to GatherVerse to share them. Audience, any of you that may have something on your heart that you would like to share, all you need is to apply. And hopefully we'll find you on stage with us, sharing space and time that we don't get back, that you'll share these moments and these opportunities with us. With that said, we have GatherVerse Women's Health Summit Day 2 tomorrow, and we have a lineup of speakers that have come to assemble from various places around the world to continue thematically this discussion on women's health summits and women's health at the intersection of innovation. At GatherVerse, we meet at the intersection of accessibility, education, community development, equality, safety, privacy, wellness, and ethics, care, and compassion. We hope that your time was well spent with us. I know that mine certainly was, and we look forward to sojourning with you and gathering with you again. And for today, our gather was well. And when we meet again, may our gather be well.